Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. This is the Yuba Sutter Spotlight, and we are live.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight.
I always leave out political.
That's why I got your sign there. You see your sign?
Yeah, but if you look at the sign, it's cut off at the bottom. So it says 14 a.m. The Patriot.
Hey, and 104.3 KMYC.
On the right side of politics.
So sometimes I'll get it right. Sometimes I won't. That's the way
Maybe
it
by
goes.
the end of the campaign season you might have it.
I wouldn't hold my breath. But okay. So, what do we got today? We got a lot of stuff. I mean, it seems like the weeks are getting busier and busier and busier. Wow, we actually went to a Democratic thing this week, didn't we? Was that this week?
Was it?
Yeah, that was this week. We went to a Democratic, not a convention.
No, we haven't been to a Democratic convention.
It was the Democratic Club. They had the District 5 candidates up in
the foothills at the Lions Club, which was awesome. They were the ones who actually brought that forum to the area because apparently that was a hole that wasn't being filled or a spot that needed to be covered. And
well, they filled it. There was a lot of people there.
And they didn't fill it with sand either.
No, they didn't. No, they did not. They did not fill it with sand.
Keep filling those potholes with sand. See where that gets you.
And if you want to see that, I didn't get any soundbite from it. I kind of dropped the ball. But One Eye Blind Media took it, and it is up on his his Facebook page, and he's going to leave it up. So if you'd like to go see that, Randy Fletcher decided not to show up for that debate, but everybody else was there.
Yes.
And it was good. So
Yep, the other guys were there.
And so we had Mitzler and we had Alton.
Alton Wright.
Yep, Alton Wright. Vote right, not wrong. But I'm voting Mitzler myself. So. And I think Mitzler would be right.
Where the right is wrong.
Yes, where the right is wrong. Well, not the right, the wrong right.
What did they talk about? Hopefully not the homeless.
Oh, the homeless and how they're going to keep us safe.
Yes.
My safety is their big concern. So.
Yes, political safety. Or no, political safety.
Political safety.
Public safety.
Might need some of that.
No kidding.
We could be refugees.
I think that's an oxymoron, actually. I don't think that exists.
No, political safety.
There is no political safety.
It's all fair game in that
That's right.
arena.
Is extremely unsafe, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And then we also went to a school board, and then we had, well, we didn't have it, but we got to see it live on Facebook Live with Shades with the Sheriff, which I want to get into first and get the sheriff stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
We're going to have a pretty big segment, so I want to jump into it with both feet and get that out of our hair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play Brandon's interview, Shades with the Sheriff first, his intro, because what they did is they all told us why they were qualified to be sheriff, and it was one of the better ones that I've heard. Mm-hmm. And I think, have we all watched it now?
Yes, I've watched it.
Okay, I think we all seen it, but I want to play it again. And what I'd like you guys to do is kind of take some notes, and then we'll come back and talk about it for 5 minutes. So it's a 5-minute intro. We'll come back and talk about it for 5 minutes. We'll do each one. We'll do Brandon, Dennis, and Jeff, just the way they were interviewed. So I guess we actually got to do Dennis last. But I've got them queued up in that order, so we're actually not going to do them in the order they were done. We're going to do Brandon, Dennis, and Jeff. So we'll start off with Brandon. And the only thing I've changed is their audio coming in because I found audio that I thought fit them better. So it's my opinion that this audio fits these candidates better. So here we go. Let's start off with this.
Kind of get to know me a little bit better, actually. I think a lot of the forums we go to, there's a lot of questions that you have to ask, and it's a little more formal. And so in this environment, it's nice because I can just kind of relax, hang out with Chris, and answer questions and just let people know who I am. So I actually grew up not too far away from here, down in Lincoln. And I got my first job over at Yuba County Sheriff's Department a little over 22 years ago. And I've been there ever since. And I consider that to be my work family. But I've always, once I got my job in Yuba County, I moved up to the Yuba City area. And so for about the last 20 years, I've lived in Sutter County, and I'm a longtime Sutter County resident. I used to live down by Shanghai Bend. And about 12 years ago, I moved up to Live Oak. And so what I like about Live Oak is that it very much reminds me of the town I grew up in, which was Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
And so if you go down to Lincoln now, it just blends with Rockland and Roseville. It's just like, one big shopping center and, the casino. And so Live Oak's got that real kind of country hometown feel. I think we're up to 2 stoplights now.
Yeah.
So
it's
I
amazing.
think we're doing big things up there in Live Oak right now.
Now
And-
they need is a place to go eat.
Well, I thought I had heard somewhere we might be getting a Taco Bell up there, and I think if that happens, well, actually, that'll put us on the map. Although,
Man, Live Oak will blow up.
Dutch Brothers has done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I bet they have.
And they're very supportive of the community, so they're a great community partner. But
That's good. That's good.
so with my my time over at Yuba County, I mean, I started in corrections, and I was there for a very short period of time, and I got an opportunity to go to patrol, which was kind of always the goal when I went to the police academy. And I did that for a period of time, and then I was fortunate enough to get promoted to sergeant. And so I supervised patrol at that point.
Okay.
I had a shift that I ran, and we actually worked the graveyard shift for a pretty long period of time, but I had a great crew. And so, I had opportunities come my way. I managed to get into community policing around that time, did bike patrol. In about 1997, I got on the SWAT team. And so that kind of really helped kind of form who I became as an officer because, when you're on SWAT, it doesn't matter if you've been there, a year or 20 years. When you show up on scene and you got the SWAT pin on, everybody looks to you and expects you to be the person that responds and handles the more complicated calls. And so, I just kind of grew into that role, and I embraced it and I enjoyed it. And so while I was a sergeant, I had an opportunity to go into detectives. And the first month in detectives, we had 2 pretty major cases. One was a double homicide, and we spent about 3 straight weeks working on that. And I wound up having to fly back to Alabama to chase a suspect back there. But I just remember working so hard, I actually got really sick, and to the point where they actually had to give me a steroid shot to clear it up.
Well, you're probably not used to that good Southern food in
Well,
Alabama.
right. So, but what's funny is I remember going to Alabama, and I was so sick, I just had such a miserable time while I was there. But we got the bad guy, and that was the intended goal. But I didn't get to do it. I remember eating at Cracker Barrel, but other than that, that was about the highlight of the trip. Other than catching the bad
Everybody eats
guy,
at Cracker
so.
Barrel. Let me tell you
Absolutely.
what. Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I supervised detectives. I got promoted to lieutenant. I supervised detectives for a little over 3 years, and then I had an opportunity to go supervise patrol operations.
Okay.
So I did that, which was unique and fun, and I actually got to go out and ride around in a car and interact with the troops, and had a really great time doing that. But I always knew that at some point I wanted to promote higher up the ranks and become a captain, and so I had gone to Sheriff Durfer at the time, and I said, hey, boss, do you mind if I go back to detectives and work some cases and get kind of one last run at, having a good time and being with my guys and my gals that I was supervising. And so I got to do that, and, about 4 years later, I got to promote to captain. And so, at that time, I knew that I possibly wanted to run for sheriff one day, and running a jail is a big part of a sheriff's department. And, unfortunately, right now, it's where a lot of the liability lies. And so I had asked if I could go and supervise the jail and kind of learn that side of the business, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. And so I've been doing that for the last couple of years almost, and having a good time. And I got a lot of great people that I work with, and we hang out. We play softball together and do different things, and so it's been a really good experience for me. And I think I'm pretty well rounded. And kind of along the way, I managed to get my bachelor's degree in police management, and I think a lot of people know because I've mentioned before that I've gone to the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, which is a really cool experience because on the weekends when you were there, you were at school during the week, but on the weekends you got to go out and sightsee. And so I got to go to Mount Vernon and to all the museums downtown.
there's some gorgeous places back
went to
there,
Gettysburg. We took a weekend trip up to New York, which was really neat.
Cool.
And so just a great experience, and gained a lot of leadership through that time over there. It was a 10-week program. Went to a similar program here in California that was actually 18 months, and it deals with strategic planning and a lot of things like that. And so the thing that was unique about that is none of the instructors were from law enforcement. They were from other fields. So, you'd have professors. The guy that invented the strawberry Pop-Tart was one of our teachers, but he was talking about the business model that they came up with to promote it when they first made it. So
good
just
Pop-Tart.
just a lot of unique experience. I'm a brown sugar, and
So that was Brandon Barnes with Yuba City and More on their Shades with the Sheriff forum. Well, I guess it wasn't a forum, just their interview with him. And, one of the things that I took away from it was just how relaxed he was and how he's done pretty much everything in the sheriff's office, from patrol to, SWAT to
Full gamut.
The full thing, yeah. I mean, patrol, SWAT, detective, ran the detectives, jail, ran the jail.
Yeah, supervised detective, supervised patrol.
Sergeant, lieutenant, captain.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
commander of the jail.
Yeah, and elevated to captain, promoted to captain. If it's good enough for Kurt Crunch and Kangaroo, boy, that's good enough for me. Gotta like being a captain.
So, I mean, it's pretty impressive resume that he laid out there for everybody to take a look at. So, what did you guys think?
Just sounds like a genuine human being to me. Sounds like he really cares about his community.
And he started at the bottom, worked his way up through the ranks, and just continued on, and knew that he wanted to be at the top someday, but understood that it was going to take 20 plus years.
Right.
And didn't try to jump through any try to jump ahead. He just did his time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To be at the top is actually to be a servant of the people.
Yep.
So if he can bear that in mind and keep that mindset, it is a service position.
Exactly.
So personally, there's a lot of people bragging about SWAT. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big SWAT lover myself, because I think it's a little heavy-handed at times. And around the nation, we have to kind of keep that in check.
I agree with you, but it's kind of like, dealing with the heavy timber framing. I don't necessarily like it. I think high-rises should be built out of steel. But the fact is in order to do it and to manage it, you have to know about it. Yes. And I think that's kind of where this comes from, throwing my aspect of what I do, yes, is if you've been in it, you understand it. And if you understand it and understand what's going on with it, you can keep it in check much better if the guys step out of line.
I'm not totally opposed to it, but I think it is, like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. So
yes. Something
that needs to be kept in check.
Yep.
There have been a lot of SWAT raids where a lot of innocent people have been hurt and a lot of property destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, with anything, though, there can be that abuse, but I think it's hugely valuable to have that kind of training in your community because, if there should be a need, we certainly want them to be well trained in that. But, of course, there's the flip side where that's potentially could be abused.
Right.
But I think, it's
so, me,
valuable.
I don't want to see any furtherance of the police state.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But like I say, I think we've got to have somebody who's been in it in order to manage it.
Training's good.
So, yeah. And that's kind of my spin on it. But I agree with you. I think SWAT is a very heavy-handed. What I would like to see, kind of, and I don't know much about it, but I think there should be more involvement from each county to make up one SWAT unit for the whole area because we're so close, and have maybe both. Yeah. Sheriff departments overseeing it, kind of, where you've got to keep each other in check.
So we know that we have always to keep the public servants in check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because, definitely.
And I'm going to read this little bit from Bastiat, Frederick Bastiat.
Well, hang on. Let's get through our next two candidates.
Okay.
And then we can read it.
Okay.
Let's get through our next two real quick. And then we can, because I want to keep this while everybody's fresh in everybody's mind. Let's go through this real quick. Here we go. This is going to be the interview with Dennis Houck.
Dennis doesn't know this, but we're going to get taxpayers together to do a whole donation. And we're going to put like this big, massive stereo in the cruiser that he has to drive around in, and that song is going to play every time he goes somewhere.
That's not my song, though, Chris.
Well, I'm sure it's not, but what made that one funny was the whole whoop, whoop, because, that's how the...
Bad Boys was my song.
I know, but I already used that one. And I like this one because... because I know you do traffic. You've done a lot of traffic, which is great because Lord knows we need that around this town. And that's what you hear. They hear them on, close to the house sometimes when they're pulling somebody over and you hear whoop,
the
whoop.
Whoop.
Yeah, they hit it quick just to pull them over. And of course, the lights. And unfortunately, I don't have disco lights in here. So that's what y'all got to get. Hey, Bill. Sitting out on the bike, we could do it sitting on the bike. I could walk out there and just hold the camera and let him talk. We could do that. But see, the nice part in here is it's quiet compared to outside. and we have AC. Not that it's hot
It's
outside.
not bad out today.
No,
though.
it's great outside right now, but that's why I cut my grass
not
today.
Bad. Not bad.
So, as I said, of course, this is Mr. Dennis Houck. Appreciate you being here,
Yes,
man. I
thank
really
you for,
do.
Thank you for having me.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give this man his opportunity to go ahead and throw out his opening statement, and then we'll get into the questions. And, of course, Bill, you know you got a couple on here. And we'll start moving this thing forward because my wife's going to have to get out here soon to go to the Elegant Soiree out in Calusa.
So,
all you, man.
before I get started, I wanted to beat you to the bacon jokes. So when you say it smells like bacon, it's because there's bacon in the car.
Well, it's a good thing there's not someplace to cook right here. I'd be cooking that right now.
So that's for you.
Ooh.
That's
oh, this is from the Country Butcher.
that is bacon.
They actually do really good bacon.
From a hog that I bought at the Yuba Sutter Fair last year.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that one year.
Supporting the junior livestock auction. So,
Pork
that
sausage.
is pork sausage from a pig that I grew at home.
Oh, wow.
When I was a 4-H leader in Live Oak for Live Oak 4-H, that was our gig. We were the swine group leader.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead with the jokes now.
Yeah, well, I was like, because I was going to say, what's that smell? And he was supposed to say, what smell? I'd be like, I smell bacon. But, yeah, they're wasted now.
So, yep, I ruined your jokes. I'm
They
sorry.
ruined my
buddy.
jokes. Look at this. The guy ruined my jokes. That's okay. I'm all right with that.
So, anyway, why I want to be the Sutter County Sheriff. Years ago, I started thinking about this probably about 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I found out that Sheriff Parker was retiring, I decided that I was interested in running for Sutter County Sheriff. And some of the then supervisors, board of supervisors, had approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in running. And knowing my background and my history with leading different units throughout my career, I felt that I would be a good fit for the people of Sutter County to lead the sheriff's department. And it's important to me to make sure that we have a sheriff's office that is out there engaged in the public. And that's something that my entire life and my entire career, I've really been involved in the community. Whether it's Read Across America, the Marysville Exchange Club, I've emceed the Officer of the Year dinner for 15 years now. The 4-H programs, the Early Riser Kiwanis that I'm involved with. Anything to do with kids. We go out and do a lot of pancake breakfasts for kids, and I think that's important to have a sheriff that's really involved in the community and leading by example, and convincing the men and women of the sheriff's office to follow those same principles.
Yeah.
So that's probably my main reason why I was interested in running for sheriff and why I'm doing it. I want to create a safer Sutter County so we all have a safe place to live, to work, and to raise our kids and our grandchildren.
Well, there you go. I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? I mean, and that's a pretty good opening statement as far as I'm concerned. Now we will get into the questions, and I'll be honest, Dennis. I think they're good questions. I went through them personally. Now we had a lot of questions.
Are you back?
So I'm back. That was Dennis Houck.
Yes, that was Dennis Houck.
So I'm not sure, but I didn't hear any qualifications at all, other than he wanted to be sheriff.
He's an early riser.
He's an early riser Kiwanis. He was a 4-H leader, the swine group leader.
He raises pigs.
But yes, I did hear why he wanted to be Sutter County Sheriff.
Well, okay.
So he says he wants to be Sutter County Sheriff. So that was the main focus, I thought, of the intro.
And some of the supervisors asked him.
Yeah, he heard that Parker was going to be retiring. He was interested and said, "Hey, I want to be sheriff."
Some of the swamp people asked him.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be sheriff.
Hey, I want to be sheriff too.
Well, I want to be sheriff.
I think in 4
I've been
years.
thinking about being sheriff.
Well, I think in 4 years, maybe I'm going to run and just run for sheriff because I want to be.
Yes.
And obviously that's enough qualifications, so I want to be sheriff.
Hey,
I think it'd be kind of fun.
so
I mean-
far, I haven't heard much about the Constitution and
No.
the constitutional role of a sheriff. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
I mean, in my opinion, out of the people I know, the best person to be sheriff would be Tammy Reichert.
But I want to be sheriff.
Vote Reichert for
because she
sheriff.
knows her Constitution pretty well.
But I want to be sheriff.
Well,
But I want to be.
that's great. But Tammy's more qualified.
But apparently, all you need to do is want to be sheriff, and that's good enough.
Well, at least we had two candidates take some Constitution class.
Exactly. Yeah, they were both there. I think they know it. Let's jump into Jeff's interview now and see where he stands and what his credentials are to be sheriff rather than want to be sheriff.
So it's all yours, man.
Well, I'm Jeff Pearson. I'm running for Sutter County Sheriff, and I was born into a military family. My father was in the Air Force, and my mother was a school teacher for first grade for 30-some years. Came up in this area when I was about 6, 7 years old. Been here ever since.
Wow.
And I went through being a Boy Scout, playing baseball, the same old things that a lot of kids do. My first job was when I was about 11, 12 years old. My mom made us, well, yeah, make us, we asked to go pick peaches, and we used to go out and pick peaches for about $3.50 a bin in those days, and until we learned how to correctly pick them.
Yeah, now people pick them and they have to pay $500 for a
Right.
piece.
Well, we were up to picking one at a time. We were told, hey, take a whole lemon, just dump it in there, scrape it in. So anyway, from there, my teenage years are spent on the farm and helping people farm, from picking up walnuts from the ground to putting sprinkler pipes, including safflower, which is a very prickly plant. And I entered into the being a loader driver and a flagger for a crop dusting firm, and eventually ended up being a pilot and being a crop duster. I went to, after graduation from high school, I went to Yuba College and got my administrative justice degree, and later got a criminal justice degree out of Sac State for criminal justice, and I'm a graduate of the National FBI Academy. And I went about 2 weeks after 9/11. It was a very interesting time. I could talk a long time on that one.
Yeah, I
saw a
bet
lot
that
of
was,
things.
yeah.
And then I've been with Sutter County. I've been law enforcement 40 years, and I've been with Sutter County for 37 years. I worked my way through the ranks. I'm currently second in command for the last 8 years, and I've been serving Sheriff Paul Parker, and now he's retiring, endorsing me along 3 sheriffs. Here I am, running for sheriff. I've done a lot of things in my career. I'm very.
That was funny. I like that. Here I am.
Yeah, here I am. And I've done a lot of things in my career. I'm a workaholic. Anybody that tell you in the sheriff's office, I'm a workaholic. I'm pretty much accessible everywhere, anytime. I was in Spain a couple of years ago. They're calling me there. But I put together programs and upgraded technology, such as our computer systems in cars and camera systems. I've done multiple 911 systems. We're trying to get 911 techs going, so we're working on that project now. And I put together our command van, which goes out throughout the county and to act as a command post in emergency situations.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. That's a nice vehicle, too.
Right, and it also carries an interoperability system with them, so we can connect different groups that have different radio frequencies together, so we talk to them in groups.
Oh, okay. So, like, if you had to do, like, if it was an emergency such as the Oroville Dam thing, you could pull in Yuba County, DWR, CHP, all these guys at once?
Yep, that's exactly what we did. We used that during the
out.
Oroville dam situation. I have a radio guy that happens to be a reserve for us, and I think he's a top-notch guy in the state of California.
Oh, sweet.
So we went flawlessly on our communications.
It's always good to have good people.
Yeah, so, but I've worked at jail, I've worked patrol, narcotics, detectives, pretty much everywhere. I've been field training officer to fire instructor to SWAT commander. I was officer a year twice with the Sutter County Sheriff's Office. I oversee the Aero Squadron. Put a lot of programs, including our community policing program, our school resource officer program. I've administered a lot of grants. I understand the budgets very well, inside out. Personnel. I'm very community oriented. I love serving the people, and
Wow.
So
I was wondering about that because he didn't have an intro song. I'm like, where's his intro song? He didn't get a song. That's not fair.
I put it at the end on that one because I just thought it fit better.
Okay.
But like I say, the intro songs weren't One Eyed Blind Media. Those were my spots in there.
That's your
But-
own personal flair.
Yeah,
huh?
that's my own opinion of those guys,
Good choice.
and I think it fits them all, their character pretty well. I believe that about Jeff. Jeff, yes, that he don't like to fight, but I don't think the guy's scared to bleed either. Like,
No.
you know, I mean,
I don't think he'd back down for a fight.
Well,
from a
exactly.
fight,
Being a
or
crop
run out of the
duster
room.
pilot is quite treacherous, you know.
exactly.
Their life expectancy is kind of low.
And I don't think he'd come to a forum, throw some mud, and then get up, run out. I just don't. I
I
don't
was going to
see-
ask you if he stayed for the whole interview on the shades or got up and walked out of the car.
Who's that?
Mr.
Dennis?
House.
Oh,
Yeah, he did.
No, he stayed for the whole
Stayed
thing.
for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I could not type fast enough during that last interview. I was trying to list all the accolades and experience that he was going through in his repertoire, and I just couldn't list them all. I can't type that fast, but I do have quite a long list.
did he say that he wanted to be sheriff?
No, he wasn't talking about why he wanted to be sheriff. He was talking why he was qualified to be sheriff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought all you had to do was want to be sheriff.
Well, in
Well,
some minds,
it-
maybe that's all it takes is I just want to be something. So I'm
You
gonna
know, I believe that's a good qualification. I mean, if you want to be and you run and you get it, then so be it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's the American way.
Exactly.
I think we had a lot of people that were never in the so-called law enforcement that became sheriffs, and probably, you know, some of them ended up pretty good. Some of them ended up bad.
That does speak to
But-
today's society, though, because if you want to be something, then you can just be that thing. Because apparently, you don't even have to be born with the parts. If I want to be a boy, I can be a boy. As I want to be a boy. I don't have to have all the parts to be a boy.
That's true. That's true.
You're an awful pretty boy.
I wear a lot of pink for a boy.
You're not a boy.
A lot of high heels.
let's
I was
end that
never
right
a
now.
tomboy. I'm all girl.
Let's end that right now. Yeah.
Through and through.
Okay.
But some people do want to be what they're not.
But
Yeah.
he mentioned the Constitution in his
Yes, he did.
statement there. I
Yes,
watched
he did. And, you know, the whole time this has been going on, I really feel like we have two candidates that are qualified, that one of them's going to be sheriff. And, you know, I think either one is going to be a fine sheriff. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be Jeff or Jeff or Brandon are going to be the sheriff of our county. And we're going to be set either way.
Well, when you have a long list of qualifications, you can talk about that long list of qualifications. But perhaps if you don't have a long list of qualifications, you just kind of revert to, well, why you want to be something.
Yeah.
That
Well,
could
you
be.
either have to have qualifications or sausage and bacon.
And really want to do it.
Well, I like the fact that both Brandon and Jeff are willing to learn. And they came to our Constitutional Sheriff's Forum, and they, when it was all said and done, they were happy they came.
And they
Yeah.
stayed
So-
for the whole 7.5 hours.
Yes.
Right.
They were there for 7.5 hours and took something away from it. And both of them brought it up.
And all candidates were invited.
Yes.
And
And
they
I
engaged
also-
afterwards, too. They
Yes.
talked to people.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I watched the complete interview with all of them, and I like Jeff Pierce's openness to forming a posse.
Yeah.
Because I believe a constitutional sheriff needs a constitutional posse. Now, I
Somebody
mean,
to back him up.
yes, people might get sick and tired of hearing about it, but you know, the Constitution is a beautiful thing.
Well, I'm sick of hearing sick and tired of them saying you're public safety. So
Yes.
one and the same. You know, I can be
Yes.
sick of it, and they can still say it, and
a
I
dog-
can be, they can be sick of us talking about the Constitution, and guess what? We can still say it.
Public safety, dog whistle for taxes.
And you know, if they don't like what we say on the radio show, there's an off button,
Yep.
Yeah.
and they can turn it off. And if they do like it, then they can leave it on. It's totally up to
I
them.
think Bill just nailed it. Public safety is a dog whistle for taxes, huh?
Exactly.
Boy, howdy.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think we're paying our fair share already, bud.
All right, you were going to read something there, Tom. I think we're.
Yeah.
Did you have any more on the sheriff, Tammy?
Well, I was just going through all of the experience that he detailed, and like I said, I couldn't type fast enough, but you know, I did take note of all the you know, the upgrading to the technology that he mentioned, and he put together that command van. He's worked the jail, his patrol, narcotics, detectives. He was SWAT commander, did the Aero Squadron, community resource officer, officer, budgets, personnel, on and on and on.
Grant writer,
Yes.
criminal justice degree.
You're seeing a lot of the same between him and Brandon, that they know the ins and outs of the sheriff's department and
They
could
both
feel
went FBI.
like they could run the sheriff's department.
Yes, they
Rather
have the
than learning as they go.
have the administrative qualities.
And I know I was watching the thing and I saw Stan Cleveland, our buddy Stan over at City Hall.
Stinky?
Yeah, said that he wanted a Abraham Lincoln type guy. Randy's there cracking up. Anyways, he wanted a Abraham Lincoln type person that commanded and rather than did all those individual things. Well, let me tell you something, Stan. I know you're just a sheetrocker in construction, but the fact is if you're going to be the project manager and dealing out all the money, you need to know the ins and outs and have worked every trade and understand every trade before you start divvying out money to different trades, because every trade is going to say that theirs is the most important work that can be done. And if you haven't worked there and don't understand it, you're going to get hornswoggled into giving money where they don't need it and could have tightened up their belts.
And that's the point that
and you would think as a city councilman, you would understand that, but apparently not.
And one of the points that we tried to bring up in the past with regard to, these capital improvement projects and the way there's not really a lot of oversight with regard to things like, change orders that get submitted and just, signed off. I mean, when you're a project manager, you need to be able to understand the ins and outs of that job to know, okay, this is not legitimate.
Your hours and your money are not jiving. Sorry. Kick it back and come back with a better price because they're not paying this one.
Yeah.
So without knowing the details of each trade, of each job, that's not possible to do.
Exactly.
So
I really believe that you need to know the ins and outs and have done it and have played that game to understand it.
I think it's critical, and I think the big mess with the pension plans is because we have people that were uneducated or unqualified doing the negotiating for the public employees, and they gave away the farm.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they gave away the farm. Now they want to take it out of the hide of our kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
And I'm just a little bit ticked off about that.
You don't got to look at me that way, Tom. I'm not the one who did it. I wish we had video because Tom's fuming right now.
So that's the truth, man. I mean, you need qualified people to do the negotiation.
Exactly. And you need qualified people.
I think at one time we had the dog pound, I mean, I call it the dog pound. What do they call it now? Animal control or animal shelter.
It's the dog pound.
It's the dog pound, right? I think there was crying about the huge cost of the dog pound.
Yep.
And
you know why? Because they didn't have somebody who understood budgets and understood construction to oversee it, and they got taken to the bank over it.
Yeah, and it's easier to spend somebody else's money than it is to spend your own, isn't it?
Oh boy, make no doubt about it. Okay, Tom, you had something you wanted to read from Bastiat?
Yeah, now Bastiat, I might need a little help from Tammy on this. Where does he fit into the timeline? Do you know? In the 1800s.
He came, the founding fathers were making reference to him during the time they were formulating the Declaration. So that was really early on. That has to be 1700s.
But he wrote the law in 1850.
Yeah. So I guess he'd been around for a while.
Yeah.
I don't have the facts on that, but
check it out. So check it out.
So I'm pretty amazed at what he wrote from that time period in the 1850s and how it pertains to today. And I'm a person that believes we need to keep the public servants in check, okay, because they're going to run roughshod over the people if we don't. And there's plenty to prove that. But here's what he said. Short paragraph. It says, the law perverted and the police powers of the state perverted along with it. The law, I say, not only turned from its proper purpose, but made to follow an entirely contrary purpose. The law became the weapon of every kind of greed. Instead of checking crime, the law itself, guilty of the evils it is supposed to punish. So there it is.
Smart man died young.
Do we see that in today's society? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So
The
these
thing-
guys had vision, man.
The thing about man is that his nature never changes.
Yes. Got a sin nature.
The sin nature never changes.
Yeah. And greed, greed, greed.
Oh boy.
So anyway, I thought that was worth
Definitely.
Worth
pointing out.
sharing, yes. I was thinking of Blackstone. It was William Blackstone that they referred to heavily when they were writing the Declaration of Independence.
Yes, yes. It's hard to keep track of all
It's
these guys,
hard-
you know.
yeah.
Plus our
There's
local
so many good references.
guys today.
You got people chatting on Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, Bill. You need to check that.
Yeah, I see that. What is it, hulas and
chatter.
undercooked swine?
Oh, that's too funny. Oh, well. It is what it is. Hey, sometimes the truth has to hurt.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. They'll get over it. They've been bad a long time. Anyways, so that was our sheriffs, and I agree with Tom 100%. And I think come on, next week is the last weekend that we get to do the political spotlight before the mail-in ballots come out, which is about 85-90% of people going to vote next weekend. Well, after next weekend, when the 7th when they come out. So next weekend, I'd like to do at least an hour-long spot on the sheriffs, and I think we're going to have the two candidates in for and give their spiel. Give them about 15 minutes just to go and let them talk.
Yeah, the sheriff's position is so key to the civil rights of the people in the county.
Well, I mean, you think about it; it calls it out by itself in the Constitution.
Yes, and if you look at Sheriff Richard Mack and his organization, which is the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, okay, he's got a lot of examples of some county sheriffs in there that are standing up and taking their rightful role and defending the tyranny of the federal government against the local people.
That's right.
And that is their job.
And his training has really just instigated those sheriffs to feel empowered and to understand the true nature of their role and to use that constitutional nature of their role. That's why it's so important. He goes all over the country training sheriffs nationwide.
Yes.
So it's a significant impact he's having nationwide on sheriffs and how they conduct themselves constitutionally.
And I believe each and every one of those sheriffs that is operating constitutionally has a backing of educated, constitutional people
Citizens.
backing him up.
Well, and if you want to look at this as any indication, I'm on It's Yuba City and More, which is operated by One Eye Blind Media, our favorite guy that takes care of us and helps us out a lot. His Shades with the Sheriff. Brandon has 2,000 views. Jeff has 1,000 views. Halk has 670 views. 672. I better be exact because I'm sure he's counting.
How much did you say Jeff had?
Oh, Jeff has 1,000.
1,000. Okay. I was curious to know how that was going to come out because he did not get a lot of publicity beforehand. We got like a day's
He got
notice.
a day. Yeah, he got
we
one
got
day.
like a whole day's notice that he was going to be able to make time in his schedule to
I hate to say it, Jeff, but I think your campaign manager botched that one a little bit.
dropped the ball hugely.
I don't think he realized how important it was going to be. I mean, I'm sorry, but Shades with the Sheriff blindsided us all. It was really a big impact because the guys that the sheriff candidates that are running, I think had no idea how big it was going to be and how many people were actually going to go back and watch it. And it was them one-on-one truly being themselves, relaxed, and I think it went really, really good. I think it shed a lot of light on what you're getting with that sheriff.
Sure, and a lot of people cannot get a one-on-one with the sheriff candidate.
I know.
And so it was a beautiful forum.
Hey, you know what? It's like this. Chris Starkey is making a big, big difference in this campaign race, and he's doing 100% legitimate. I mean, he's going out, he's asking the questions, He's not slandering. He's not bombarding anybody. He is straight up just, here it is. I don't, and I'm sure he must have his favorites, but I couldn't tell you who they are. I mean, he is totally playing the field of, I'm a conscientious objector. Here it is. Here's what they have to say. He's doing a bang-up job and getting a lot of people, a lot of single moms that vote, a lot of, parents that work different hours that can't go with their kids. He's getting them a lot of good information. I think we're going to have more informed voters this election than you've ever seen because of one man at One Eye Blind Media.
Because what he's doing. And that whole Shades with the Sheriff thing, that was his brainchild.
Yep.
And what an awesome thing to think of, to have that kind of a intimate talk with a candidate.
Well, whenever he said it, I thought, oh man, he was going really good with the candidate forums, and I'm thinking, oh man, this may not go over real well, and I don't know if they're going to show up and everything. But we all gave him, do it, go with it, and I can't believe they all showed up. It was awesome. I mean,
he handled it well. He was fair and impartial,
Yeah. And the thing is if they showed up, that means somebody's starting to pay attention to One Eye Blind Media and it's Yuba City and more. So very impressive. Hats off to Chris Starkey and One Eye Blind Media. I mean, the guy's got it going on.
Yeah.
Those
were the greatest interviews. That spoke to me more than even seeing them perform at the sheriff forums. I really enjoyed seeing them so personal and personable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed a little bit harder punching questions myself, but that's just that's just me, And
it was his first
I like to
one.
get into the nitty gritty, man.
Well, and what's interesting is you can ask questions, and the next time, I'll bet you're at the top of the list with some questions for him, won't you?
Well, I hope so.
So it'll be interesting to see it going on. We spent almost a full hour on sheriff, so let's get into what's next. I was really looking forward to the sheriff thing. I mean, to me, that is the whole election this year. Granted, we are going to be doing DAs, but I've seen Amanda Hopper one time.
Yeah, and 10 days ago, I talked to Amanda face to face. She looked me in the eye. I invited her to the May 21st Sutter Butte's Tea Party, DAs, Town Hall. Said she had to check her calendar and get back to me. So, I realized that she didn't have any way to contact me, so I sent her an email that very same day.
And I saw you send her another one.
I sent her another one today. Because maybe she's having a hard time finding that calendar.
Well, it might just be the Chris Carlos show then.
It could be.
And that'll be okay too, I guess.
Yeah.
We get what we get.
We might get some of those detectives looking for that calendar.
Yes.
Well, and it's pretty intimidating going to the Tea Party meeting one because they're not going to be softballs. They're not going to be a slow pitch, high arc softball pitch.
She was there 4 years ago.
I realize that, but it was ran differently then too.
Oh, yeah, well, the Burgers were there. They're not there now.
Now, it's the public questions. They're not censored.
That's right.
They're not worded a certain way.
Open mics.
It's an open mic, get up, ask your question, and we expect an answer.
And we don't shuffle through the index cards to, throw out the really tough questions or the ones that might offend someone or put someone on the spot too much. We let them go up to the mic and ask your question.
Granted,
you mean no boxers or briefs?
Granted, there's a few times that I'm going, great googly moogly, but, at the same time, I mean, it makes for some,
Hey,
if need be, we have our sergeant at arms at hand.
You know what?
Take over.
I got to play something real quick.
I was bored to tears at some of those other forums.
Because this is what you get at the Tea Party forums. I got to play this real quick because I love this. It's David, Tom, and David just literally, I haven't heard from him since.
David Joyce.
I thought
the county is stronger than the private property owner.
In America.
The county is stronger than the private property owner.
In America, you got private property rights, and you don't have the right to tell them what to do with this property.
This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they?
We don't got to play this part again. But I mean,
I wonder if that guy from Barack was going to show up again. He's funny.
But I mean, the whole thing is that's what you get, and the emotions get going. And the crowd gets reactive, and it's really interesting because, I mean, if you really take that and break it down, you can hear me in the background going, really? And then Tom fires back at him. And, I mean, you can see the guy kind of sink down in his chair like, uh-oh. Did I really just say that?
Well, we were just getting going, and then Bill shut me down.
And you got those, inside
cut the mic.
inside words and outside words, and every once in a while, an inside word slips out. Oops.
But
it was fun.
I remember at a past Tea Party meeting where it was a candidate forum, and I don't even remember the race, but I remember somebody actually, the words came out of their mouth. They said, "Oh wait, I got to remember where I'm at. I'm at the Tea Party." They actually said that.
That's right.
And this is why we do this, because they will speak to their audience.
They will.
They will call themselves a constitutionalist and not use that word correctly.
Until they get out the door.
Until they get out the door.
Now, in Bert's defense, we know who did it. And he did come back to the breakfast the other day that Tea Party has that we just happened to go to that weekend. Mm-hmm. And he took his blows very, very well for saying that.
Yeah. Yep, took his lumps.
And I mean, we did beat him up pretty good, Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to have to deal with is being a public servant. Is guess what? You say something and the people are going to call you on it.
Yeah, and we're all good with that now. We get it. He gets it. We've resolved our issue and we're moving on. But seriously, that was like our only issue with what he had to say.
City council race that I was actually in, and it was the one guy. Kuchner, Wade Kuchner.
Was he the one who said that comment?
He's the one who said, "I gotta remember where I'm at. Let me get my story straight." Okay. My opinion is he said let me get my story straight, but he did say I gotta remember where I'm at, and then he answered the question.
I didn't even remember who that was or what race it was, but I was shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, inside words, outside words. He let some inside words out.
I actually leaned forward and looked down the table at him like, really? Thanks, buddy. Awesome.
Let me ask you this. Did Bert Manuel, who is running for county supervisor.
District 3.
Yes. Did he get upset? Or did he cry and leave? No.
Stand up performance. I mean, really, I have a lot more respect for the man. I was really, really heavily leaning Mike Ziegemeier. I still am, but Bert gained a lot of ground with me with staying there saying, you know what, I appreciate it. You're right. You caught me. You know what, this is what I meant by it, and this is why I felt I was right. And, I'll make sure that before I say anything about the Constitution, that I know what I'm talking about it. He really recovered really nicely because he didn't get all standoffish like me and it's like me and Standard Oil and Water. Every time we get together, it's a standoff.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that at all. He was absolutely put his hat in his hand, was like, you know what, I'll look into it, but I believe you are right. And I spoke out of turn, and Tammy's the one who beat him up more than I did. But the fact is his response was on the spot of maybe I need to do a little bit more homework, basically, in a nutshell.
Yes.
Yeah, he really recovered from that one. In my mind, he gained enormous points. I'm, very respect the way he handled that situation. I very respect the fact that he came to us.
Yeah.
I am very appreciative of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what he actually came for was not for that. That we might as well lead into that.
Yeah, we just kind of nailed him on that. We're like, hey, since you're here.
Well, we've got 3 minutes. So who was it that sent him the text of why he endorsed Paul Bosse? That was...
You're talking about...
that was Larry Munger.
Larry Munger sent him the text that he had to endorse Paul Bosse because of Crystal Martin.
Yeah, because he chose Crystal Martin as his campaign manager.
And now I saw it with my own eyes on Bert's phone. No doubt about it. That's what happened.
Yep.
So
that was the messaging back and forth.
It's not my opinion. I saw it straight up. And that's amazing. So that's what's going to decide.
So he pulled his support from Bert Manuel simply because
of Crystal Martin.
Yeah, because he decided to use Crystal Martin as his campaign manager.
So that's fair.
I've been watching politics for a few years now.
That's a good reason. That carries a lot of weight right there. You got the wrong campaign manager, and I'm not. She wins some elections, and I didn't. You're right.
Where is it? You got to get ready with that.
I am laying down on the job, guys. I'm sorry.
The politics, man, since I've been watching the game being played, is a dirty business.
Oh man!
And
well, and it's a dirty business. I mean, if you believe what you read, I'm an alcoholic. Well, not even read. It's just word of mouth.
That was the word going around. That's their go-to thing if they can't find anything on you. Oh, that person's an alcoholic.
What they should have said is you must eat Teflon because nothing really sticks.
Now, I have the Saturday issue of the Appeal Democrat.
It's 157
in my hand.
You got 2 minutes to cover it, or do you
no,
want to cover it when we come back?
I'm just putting in a teaser here, but I think it should be covered because it's the main headline.
Well,
and
I
it
think
says,
that's going to come in.
Ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees.
So it says credibility issues raised with video, and I think we should take a look at this article when we come back.
We can certainly take a look at that article.
And
for crying out loud, there's been headlines for the whole DA career.
Yes.
The past 4 years have been drama. Yeah, pretty much. You never know. You don't know what you're going to get.
So I read the article and I thought it was some attacking going on in the article, and I thought to myself, it's typical politics. You know, it's a rough
thing
playing
about
field.
Politics, yeah.
Yes. So
typical politics is one day
It's going great, and they're only getting better.
and the next.
Is your phone ringing?
Nope, that's not my phone.
Yeah.
That's one of you guys. They're calling you personal now. Somebody hit a nerve.
yeah, I don't work on Sunday. So that's the bottom line.
This is definitely not work. This is all
just having fun.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to take us out, guys, and we'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows it's coming apart. We are back, the Yuba Sutter Spotlight, and we are going to be talking about the headline article in yesterday's paper. I think Tom's going to kick that off. But yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this headline because I thought when I read this, and I'm not a everyday newspaper reader, but it just happened to be catch my eye, so I read the article. And personally, I believe it's not true. You know what I mean? I don't. I haven't seen the video, but I heard about it, and I just don't believe it to be true.
The video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
I think it's a false accusation. But what's interesting to me is the politics in the program, where the two guys seem to be thrown under the bus. You know, and I was talking about politics earlier and how what a rough game it is, you know. But it says, you know, in the article that something about Parker and something about Chris Carlos. And I don't know if I should read from the article.
If you want to read from the article, because I know that they cast some doubt on Jason Parker, and they tried to cast some
Well, what
blame.
I want to know is I read the article too, and where did Houck even come into the article? I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand his role of why he was drug into that.
So go ahead what you were going to read. I don't understand why they drug the people into it that they drug into it.
Okay, well, it says Hopper described the video as appalling, disgusting, and completely false.
Well, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
I saw the video. I would agree with that. I don't know about that completely false, but it didn't look legitimate to me. That's my own opinion. It did not look legitimate.
As far as I'm concerned, that could have been the end of it, you know. But then the article says, these are lies. There's been a constant attack against me by a core group of people with a political axe to grind, she said. The group, she said, is comprised of Jason Parker, a former chief investigator of Hoppers, who was fired in January, and a small group of others who are working in tandem with Carlos, or Chris Carlos. I'm assuming that's who they're talking about, who's running against her for district attorney. And it says, Jason Parker has the ability and experience to troll on social media, to find personal relationships and to target vulnerabilities, Hopper said. Hopper said her cousin has demonstrated a pattern of lies on social media and previous posts and has a history of lashing out at family members and making accusations. So anyway, that's part of what I wanted to talk about is how politics has gotten to be pretty roughshod, and I don't see no reason to throw these other two guys under the bus.
Yeah, so they drug Jason Parker in and Chris Carlos in without having any evidence of connection. So they're making an accusation without backing it up with evidence, which is exactly what they're complaining about is happening to them.
Yes. And I should read this, what Parker had to say. It said, Parker said, there was no way in hell he would stoop to so low to convince someone to falsely accuse a person of sexual assault. He said he has spent years working on sexual assault investigations and understands the potential harm they can have, not only on the involved parties, but their families as well. I've never met this person, Barshi, Parker said. I've never worked for Chris Carlos in any capacity. Child molestation is a serious allegation, and shame on anyone who falsely accuses someone. I imagine there will be a criminal investigation to determine what happened. One thing I'm certain of is the investigation will prove that I was uninvolved. Carlos also said Parker is neither working with him on his campaign or for him as a private investigator. Carlos has been representing Parker in proceedings related to Parker's filing. So, yeah, heavy duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't Dennis Houck was quoted in that article too? For some reason, he was questioned, and I was very confused as to why he was even mentioned in the article.
Yeah, I'll have to look for that here. But anyway, that's politics in this day and age.
Well, the best way to get the attention off of you is to divert it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
squirrel.
There's so many things that roll out of this, because I know that I've been reading because Amanda posted it on her website of her family members coming out speaking on her behalf. But the things that they're saying about the man who's making that accusation, they're saying, he's had a history of drug abuse, addiction, mental illness. These are all things that stem from having that kind of abuse as a child. So to me, what they're saying would lend more credibility to what this, but again, we don't have, I actually don't even have an opinion yet. This has not unfolded enough for me to lay,
I believe in the presumption of innocence.
Exactly.
And that
innocent
is what's
until proven guilty.
Guaranteed to every American.
Right.
Supposed to be guaranteed to every American.
Right.
So.
And as far as someone being unfairly accused, which is what her campaign is complaining about, well, then they shouldn't go around unfairly accusing other people who have no involvement in it as being behind it.
That's what blew my mind when I read this article.
With no proof. And I read it, and a couple of people had pointed that out have commented saying, well, where's your proof? and they've said, well, we're looking for it. Well, if you're looking for it, you don't have it yet.
Yeah. That's the
so
diversion.
why did you make the statement then that Chris Carlos is involved and that Jason Parker is involved?
Yeah.
You don't have the evidence that they are because you haven't proven that.
That's uncalled for. The one good thing about it would be in their positions where they actually accuse people themselves and in their jobs, and take them to task and take them through the court system and the whole 9 yards. So I think it would give if it was me, it would give me a personal check. Hey, boy, I better make absolutely sure that I am, barking up the right tree, because this is an accusation that is horrendous against a person. So
exactly.
And I'm presuming innocence until proven guilty.
Right. Let it play out. Let it have its day in court if that's where it ends up.
And not everyone proven guilty is guilty.
That's happened too.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting article right on the front page that we should talk about with these candidates.
Yeah. This is getting it's getting a lot of mudslinging back and forth, and nobody can say that they are completely innocent of the mudslinging, because there you have your point in case right there. They're claiming they're being attacked, but yet they throw out these accusations toward the other campaign in the same manner without any evidence or backing.
Yeah.
You're accusing these people of being behind this. Yeah. Where's your evidence?
And we're talking small-time politics.
Oh,
you're talking the very, very, bottom of the barrel. You're talking city council races, you're talking DA races, small local sheriff races. It's amazing.
That's where it starts.
So can you imagine what it is whenever you get up into the upper Congress and stuff that is the kind of mudslinging that must go on that we never hear about? It's got to be just unbelievable. But look at the whole Trump thing.
Yeah. I hear it every day about Trump.
That's exactly what I was thinking
they
about,
just
Jason.
tried to torch him at the stake.
Yes.
Those rats swimming through the swamp.
Yep.
It just brings that right to mind, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and then the bad thing is whenever you start doing accusations like that, a lot of good people get tore up. And, it's all bad. The whole thing is we can sit here and make fun and have our show. And, we really do. We trash on Hout quite a bit. At least I do. But I don't feel that he's as qualified. And I've seen him do some things that I really didn't.
But it's all in fun. There's nothing heinous about it.
There's nothing heinous about it.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to see the guy get elected. I'll honestly say that. I don't want to see him get elected.
You're entitled to your opinion.
You would think.
Yeah. But, what's that, the guy from Barakwa?
Yeah. He wouldn't let me be entitled to my opinion.
No.
He might be coming for you.
Special jail for journalists.
They put you in jail right away. They put you in jail right away.
Yes, no opinion for you.
Especially if you're a journalist. They got a special jail for journalists.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of journalists, you are listening to AM 1410 The Patriot and 104.3 FM KMYC, and also live stream at www.kmycradio.com.
And if you miss it, you're missing half the fun with my little intros and things like that I enjoy doing. And
all the fun music has to get cut out when it gets posted onto YouTube.
Yeah, listen live.
But we've got to give another shout out. Who's getting the most publicity here today? Chris Starkey, One Eye Blind Media. The guy is awesome. He cuts up the show for us. As soon as it's done today, he gets it. By tonight, it'll be up on YouTube. You can go there, check it out if you missed it and missed any of the shenanigans that go on and all the fun stuff that we talk about in the local politics. He does an awesome job. And I'm telling you, it's really amazing to me that some of the candidates have not picked up on him yet and haven't been having him do some of their stuff. Because, if you want to make yourself look really good or, make the other guy not look so good with some editing at some of the forums, this guy can do it. Mm-hmm. And, it's not rocket surgery. I do it my own. But the fact is I wouldn't do it for somebody else. I just don't have the time, nor do I want to. But this guy can do it. He makes our little logos and all kinds of stuff. and does a darn fine job of it, and does it in a timely manner. So,
And
Chris Starkey,
he did a great job at the Shades with the Sheriff.
Yes,
I
he
thought
did.
He was treating everybody real nice.
So
Very
One Eye Blind Media.
This,
Check him out.
This just popped into my mind. Chris Carlos, who's running for DA, his sign, what does it say? It says more work and less politics or something like that, right? Have you seen that?
I've seen it. I think
it's on his web Facebook
Less
page,
politics, more service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that.
Yeah.
Less politics and more service.
How about less drama? More doing my job.
Less drama, more my job. Our job is drama out here, though.
Drama. But we make it all fun.
Wait a second. We're missing something. What's coming up? Oh,
a commercial?
A commercial that I got to queue up, but we need to talk about Right Side Gear and Liberty Holsters. You guys talk about that. I'm going to queue up a commercial.
Well, I have several Liberty holsters because I have several things to go in my Liberty holsters. But we don't have to talk about that. But I do love all my Liberty holsters. They work very well. And I'm proud to carry my Liberty holsters. And
they're very comfortable.
Yes.
And then Joe Patrick with Right Side Gear. He has his own IFAC kits. He sews his own bags, all made in America.
Yep, and you can find Liberty Holsters. They have a Facebook page. So does Right Side Gear. We're trying to get them to. Well, I recorded a couple of poor audio commercials for them that.
We'll have to do that again next time in studio before.
Yeah, we need to do something in studio or
here.
in their voice because you guys hear my voice enough. You don't want me to hear me do their commercials for them.
Well, and then we also have, Liberty Holsters and Right Side Gear. What is amazing.
They're at Liberty Holsters at Cali Liberty Holsters on Facebook. I just went to their Facebook page and that's what it said.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to do Jeff's ad now real quick for Jeff Pierce, candidate for sheriff, Sutter County Sheriff.
I'm Jeff Pierce, and I approve this message. I've served as a Sutter County deputy for over 35 years, the last 7 as second command as undersheriff. So I know every inch of this sheriff's office from budget to patrol. Being a sheriff takes more than just wearing a gun and a badge. It takes integrity, experience, toughness, and knowledge.
I know all the candidates and what it takes to be sheriff.
Jeff Pierce has the experience and the integrity we need.
He is the best choice for Sutter County Sheriff.
Without question, Jeff Pierce is the right choice for sheriff. He has the experience needed to halt the expansion of drugs, tackle homeless problems, protect Second Amendment rights, and keep our neighborhoods safe.
We need Jeff Pierce's toughness and experience. The best and most qualified person for sheriff in Sutter County is Jeff Pierce.
All right, so there was a Jeff Pierce ad. We're waiting for Brandon's. He's supposed to have an ad in here also. That was donated to them by Sutter Buttes Tea Party. And
no, not the Tea Party.
It was part of the Tea Party.
Constitutional.
It was donated by the Sutter Yuba Constitutional Republicans. That's changing their name to the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans.
I got you. They did. The Constitutional Republicans did Jeff's, and then the Tea Party did Brandon's. Remember?
Oh, that's right, because Brandon didn't have... That's right. I'm sorry. I corrected you, and I shouldn't have.
It's okay.
You were right.
Neener.
Write that down. Did you get it on tape?
You were right. Yes, Jeff's got donated by the Constitutional Republicans.
Yeah.
Not Brandon's.
What good is it if you can't make fun of yourself? Nobody else do it.
You got to get up and walk out?
Yeah. I'll turn down all the mics before I leave. I can edit you right out of this. Oh.
So let's, Thomas started on it an hour ago, or more actually, about what happened up in the foothills with Alton Wright and John Missler. One of the things John brought up was the Yuba County Water Agency, and some little undergoings there that aren't quite proper. There's just things aren't working right for some reason.
Isn't Randy Fletcher in that?
Randy is in that.
Okay.
He is a current board of supervisors. The Yuba County Water District has 7 board members and a director. And I don't think the director can vote, but 5 of those 7 board members are Yuba County Board of Supervisors, which seems a little odd because there's a lot of money coming out of that, coming into the Yuba County Water Agency, and so far, some of those boards of supervisors people want to keep it to themselves.
They don't want to share
as
the wealth?
an agency. They don't want to share the wealth.
I think they want to keep it for their
own little private project.
Well, their own little area. What do you call it? District, right?
Well,
not themselves.
Well, no.
The water situation, I don't quite fully understand it. Do you understand what's happening?
Yes,
with
this
the
is
water?
whiskey's for fighting. I mean, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting. It's simple.
We're fighting over.
Yeah.
I thought it was
So it all stems back to Bullard's Bar, and Bullard's Bar was created with bonds and the collateral of property owners in Yuba County. And now that it's paid off 50 years later, there's this thing called transference of water.
So there's revenue being generated by the water.
$50 million a year. But there's pumpers who are farmers.
Okay, what is a pumper? I read the article. So is a pumper...
They pump their own water out of the ground, out of the common aquifer for the whole county, and I've heard that aquifer extends under the river into Sutter County also.
Okay, so how is that tied to Bullard's Bar?
That's
the question I have.
That's the question. We have to delve into this. Something to talk about in the future, but there's a big concern going on that when Yuba County Supervisor says they can't, they're afraid to vote on an anti-resolution or a resolution for an anti-sanctuary state because they might lose the $6 million, but they got $50 million sitting over here on the side. So it seems like a straw dog to me.
So $50 million is going into what fund? The water agency fund and not the county
Not the
fund.
county. It should be going back to the people. They could lower electricity costs. They could lower water costs. They could
property taxes.
There's a whole gamut of things that could be used for. So.
It'd be interesting to see if we could get Andy Vasquez to have a little debate with maybe John Missler.
Yeah.
Because I'd really like to, because Andy was talking about it on his show yesterday, but what he was saying, as I was thinking it through, still didn't make sense to me, because he was trying to say that none of that money came from the taxpayers to pay for Bullard's Bar. And it didn't make sense to me when he said that, because he said it was bonds and... I think he said, I just remember hearing bonds.
Yeah.
Well,
where do the bonds come from?
Exactly. Who pays for the money has to come from the taxpayers in some way, shape, or form, whether it's locally, regionally, state, whatever. It's still taxpayer. And then the other thing was I was talking about it with someone, and they were explaining that the property owners of Yuba County actually had to put their property in Hawk as collateral for
the dam.
Yeah. So they took all that risk, and they would have lost their property if a default had occurred. So having borne all that risk and then somebody else getting benefit down the line seems a little not right. But
I'm not quite up to speed on it, but it sounds to me like there's some private profiteering maybe off the water.
Well, there's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Some of these farms, I don't know. Lou said there's 100 pumpers. I've seen reports on 5 or 6 of them, and one of them gets a good deal amount, over $5.5 million.
Well, I think that we should get a full understanding of it, because I know I don't.
Yeah.
And but I do know this. I've been saying this to my friends, and everybody in this room knows it for years, and that I believe the 2 greatest weapons in the world are control of the mind, or mind control, and control of the water supply. So water is a huge thing, and the control of it needs to be looked into and talked about.
There ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees.
No rest for the wicked, huh?
And money
Always
don't grow on
something to do.
trees.
It does in Yuba City. Hey, yeah, we'll look into that. That would be a good thing to have those 2 get together. And,
I think it really would be,
spend
because
an hour listening to them. Yeah.
yeah, because John really seems to have a good understanding of what's going on. He's put out an article about it.
And I'm pretty sure he's the next Yuba County supervisor, because I can't see Randy doing a second term or getting another term in there with Mitzler running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he won't even show up to the forums.
Mm-hmm.
So
doesn't feel the
We
need.
shall see.
Yes,
we shall see.
we shall.
Yeah.
So in Yuba City, money does grow on trees.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right behind City Hall. Haven't you seen them?
Oh,
the money trees.
Well, wow. No, I haven't. How do they keep those safe?
They water them a lot.
I want one.
Well, you know, the city council in Yuba City, for some reason, they get paid 10 times more than the city council in Marysville.
Well, what's awesome is there's 3 of them up for re-election, and it sounds like there's going to be 10 candidates running.
That's going to hurt.
10 or 11.
Oh, that's
maybe
awesome.
an even dozen.
Yuba City
might be 12.
Now, who's does anybody know whose seats are up for election?
Yeah,
Mr. Sweetlife's up.
So is Preet.
Preet.
What about Lola?
No, he was elected last time. But the sheetrocker is.
Oh.
The sheetrocker.
So Stan's
So
up
Stan
for
Cleveland,
re-election.
Preet,
Yep.
and
He's up
John Buck.
for re-election. I can't believe he was a sheetrocker. I just can't believe it.
You know what Tom says about sheetrock?
I don't like sheetrockers.
Oh, I don't either. You know how much money I got to spend on cleaning out tubs from them peeing in them?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It is absolutely amazing.
They always cut the plastic in the windows for the
they do.
stucco guys. So
Yes,
you
they
know
do.
we just don't like them.
And set their
And
cans
they always take our scaffold planks inside.
Yep. And then you got to go retrieve them.
Yes.
'Cause-
And they bury our hoses in piles of sheetrock debris.
In piles of sheetrock debris. Got it.
I thought you were going somewhere else.
I did too.
And take our wheelbarrows without asking.
Yeah. Sheetrockers are like
And I won't mention some of the other things.
bottom of the barrel there,
And
buddy.
that's what I was just thinking in my mind, all the things that I hear constantly, because it's not a secret. I'm in the building industry as well, and it is so widely known that the sheetrockers are just like the dirtiest trade on the job site.
Oh.
And for
multiple ways.
For multiple ways that I, as a lady, can't discuss on the air.
There goes our sheetrocker audience.
I don't think we had a very big sheetrocker audience.
Both of them have just turned them off.
Well, we do need sheetrock.
Well, we do. We do need sheetrock.
I mean, it's better than the old wood paneling. So
I'll tell you what, if you wanted to make $1 million right now, a couple of high school kids should get together, call it on-time sheetrock, and start hanging sheetrock, and they'd be millionaires within a year if they could hang as much sheetrock that needs to be hung in a timely manner and be on time about it. Because my biggest nightmare right now is sheetrockers.
Now, I hung sheetrock for a brief spell when I was a young guy.
Yep.
And first of all, I'm too short to hang sheetrock. Secondly, my head is too soft.
Yeah, you can't push it up with your head to hold it up.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and the thing, I don't know. I got to stop. But sheetrockers, I don't know. It's a, bleh.
And you know what I made? I think I made about 2 cents a square foot, man.
Well, that's the thing. And I mean, yeah, I can't, I got to stop. I just can't handle
Well, building is booming. So anybody who can pick up any trade right now, you're going to be in high demand.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever
There's
you
no
want
doubt
to do
about that.
in the building trades, it's in high demand right
Times
now.
are good again. There's no doubt about it.
We need trade schools.
Oh,
yes.
Boy,
yes,
do we ever.
do. We had a good discussion
Speaking
with
of that,
Joe Hendricks.
Joe
after,
Hendricks gets
after the forum the other night.
gets the idea that we need some trade schools, that not every kid is going to go to college.
And Joe Hendricks is running for superintendent of schools.
Yep,
Yes,
Sutter
he
County.
is.
Yes, yes.
You know, it'd be real nice.
So you went to a meeting and listened to him.
Yes.
Yes, we did. Yeah. And what did I do with my
Go ahead,
iPad?
Randy.
Oh, there it is.
What's up,
Just
Randy?
if we had a trade school to teach these kids how to dress themselves, how to tie their boots,
How to pull up their pants,
pull up their pants,
wear a belt.
and just walk without dragging their feet.
Shuffle in their feet.
Some of our I won't mention the stores, but our bigger lumber stores in town, you go in there and look at their workforce, and then wonder why things don't get done, and you can't. I mean, it's phenomenal. I walked in there the other day, and the kid was walking. He had his work boots completely untied, the tongue sticking out, his pants pulled halfway down, and dragging his feet, and he was an employee of the store.
Didn't want to trip her
And
over his shoestrings.
Yeah.
And you think any of them will ask if you need help? As soon as they see you, and if you make eye-to-eye contact, they grab their little electric device and act like they're taking inventory or something.
He would have never been able to catch the couple that I saw there shopping about 2 weeks ago. It was right after 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, some of us get up and go to work, and the couple had been in the store, and they had filled up a basket, and I was at the checkout stand, and they wheeled right on past me. And the clerk started going, hey, 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 hey. And I ran out in the parking lot. Man, they were shoving that stuff in that car so fast.
Oh, you're kidding.
She was in the driver's seat, and he was shoving it all in the back.
I saw the same thing.
And they were out of there and nothing flat.
Yep. They had the shingles sitting out. When they have a big sale, they have the big piles of shingles out front.
Yeah.
I sat there out in the truck. I was reading some papers or something, and this car pulled up. The one guy jumped out, popped the trunk open, threw about 5 bundles of shingles, jumped back in, and away they went.
Wow.
That's enough to
self-serve, I guess.
That's enough to roof a chicken coop right there.
There's gonna be a really nice chicken coop down at the river bottoms. Oh,
yeah.
We were talking about superintendent of schools, and we're talking about how we. For one thing, I guess I should talk about all the candidates before we get to just Joe, because we did have a.
There's other candidates?
Yeah,
Yes, there's
two other candidates. Is there 2 other candidates?
Two
Two other
yes,
candidates.
in Sutter County, and Frank Ravelis is running unopposed in Yuba County.
Yeah.
So who are the candidates in
Joe Hendricks?
Sutter County?
Joe Hendricks.
Joe Hendricks.
No, Val Dillon,
Dylan.
who is the incumbent who was appointed to that position. So she hasn't served a full term. She was appointed sometime in the midterm. And
Tom Russer.
Tom Russer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Neither-
they're going to be at the Sutter Butte's Tea Party Patriots meeting on the 7th.
Neither of which believes that there needs to be trade school
Well,
influence.
they're going to come and answer
yeah,
questions. There's
that'll
going to be
be-
open mics, and
Okay.
We can ask them about that.
So those are the 3 candidates, and they're going to come to the forum.
Yes, and that's since we're
Hopefully.
talking about that's going to be on May 7th, Monday, May 7th, happening at the Sutter Butte's Tea Party Patriots, Sutter County Superintendent of Schools Forum. It's held at the Church of Glad Tidings.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
You know, I think I'm going to post my ballot after I fill it out on Facebook so everybody can see how I voted because I don't think they're getting how I'm going to vote yet.
I hate that.
Just look at our front lawn.
You brought that up earlier. You know what I miss? I miss walking into the polling place and marking my ballot.
Well, if I don't...
gives you a sense of patriotism.
Yeah,
gives
and you get
a
your
sense
sticker.
Of USA. That's right.
I
voted sticker.
I've never voted by mail, but I think I'm going to this year because I want to show everybody.
I want to stand
You
out
have
in
to get
front
on the
of,
list to vote by mail. You can't just decide.
Oh, well, then I guess I'm going to the polling place.
I like going to the polling place.
That's okay. I can take my camera out at the polling place and take a PDF of it.
It's probably
show everybody.
illegal for some reason.
my vote won't count.
All we'll have to do is just take a picture of our front lawn and put that out as our slate.
Oh,
Here
okay.
you go.
That'll
Take
work.
this to the polling booth. This is who you vote for.
Well, I'm mocking this because I think everybody knows how I'm going to vote anyways at this point.
You don't hide your feelings very well.
I don't?
Yeah.
You have a lot of opinions.
Huh. Well, that's why we got a radio show.
Just be real, huh?
If you want your opinions to be known, you buy your own radio show.
get you a radio show and you can do it.
Yes.
You can do it. And I know Tom Huth has some open spots out here.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't like what we're saying and want to combat us, hey,
Have at it. Because we have thick skin and we can take it.
Yes,
You might be able to pick off the weaker ones in the group, but you're not going to get to the the ones that are really making a difference and that really matter.
It's easy to have thick skin when you're right.
It happens. It happens. Let's talk about, before we forget, we need to make sure we let people know about the upcoming events that are happening this week, campaign events. This is a big week for the DA and sheriff because you're going to have a couple opportunities, believe it or not.
You're going to get thumped for that later, Jason.
He's trying to make me be quiet. On Wednesday, May 2nd, the Chamber of Commerce and Appeal Democrats are hosting a candidate forum for the Sutter County DA and sheriff's positions, and it'll be at the Yuba City Council chambers at 6 p.m.
I'll be there.
And the very next day, I bet you When I Blind will be there too, When I Blind Media, to probably do another Facebook Live and have it posted. That'll be...
Watch where you're going. Remember where you've been. Because we're going to talk about it. And if you say the wrong thing, ouch.
I remember the last DA forum and the last election, not, 4 years ago.
Yeah. We haven't had a DA forum yet.
Right. No, this was 4 years ago.
Gotcha.
And we had Amanda Hopper was running for Sutter County, and then we had Jana McClung and Jennifer Dupre.
Yep.
And we brought up the subject of jury nullification.
Ooh.
That's a bad word, Tom. Didn't you hear?
Yeah.
None of them like
They do
that.
not like it.
No.
But I love it.
You know who wasn't opposed to it?
Chris
Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
We
not
cornered him.
offended by that
Three of
comment.
us cornered him and talked to him about it, and yeah, he really wasn't opposed to it.
Yes. The beautiful thing about jury nullification, and jury nullification is the ability and the responsibility to vote on whether the person was innocent or guilty and whether or not it is a good law.
So what you're saying,
constitutional
what
law.
you're saying
Yes.
is whenever somebody sits on a jury, is they need to decide first whether the law is a good law or not.
Constitutional,
And then,
Yes.
not good.
then they need to
Constitutional.
decide, okay, whether this guy actually broke the law or not.
Right.
Well, so first it's got to be a legal, legitimate law.
That lines
Then-
up with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Then he has to be guilty of breaking that law, or they have to be
Yes.
guilty of breaking that law. But first, I want to go back to this one more time because a lot of people don't understand this. That first, a jury of their peers has to say, okay, all 12 of us agree that that law is a good law.
It's a constitutional law.
It's a good constitutional law.
Not all 12 have to agree, though.
No, but
Yes.
that's what I'm saying
Yes.
is all 12 of them, all 12 of them do have to agree.
Well, they
They
should
all have
To get a
first
conviction.
know.
but-
Exactly.
Yes.
They all have to agree that this is a legal, constitutional law, and now we can move forward to see if he actually broke the law that's in question.
Yes. And you should be able to hear all the facts of the case.
Yes.
Okay? And you still have the ability to say not guilty if you believe it is the person is being railroaded or it's not a legitimate punishment.
And
it extends a lot of power back to the people. It brings all the power back to the people.
And I think we've lost that in our society, where it's better 100 guilty people go free than one innocent man be put to jail.
I agree wholeheartedly on that.
And I think we've lost a lot of that. I mean, you can see me getting a little bit emotional here, because the fact is that's the way the Constitution was written, and that's what our forefathers thought was it would be better to set 100 people free that have committed a crime, because the fact is more than likely they're going to do it again, and they're going to be figured out, and they'll get what's coming to them, because that's the way the good Lord works. Is usually you get what's coming to you.
That's right. Yeah.
But how heinous and how horrible would it be to put one man or one person in jail that didn't deserve to be there?
Right.
And that's something we've lost, and we really need to start getting back to is that, nobody should be in jail that doesn't belong there.
Right. And, there is many examples of mercy that's shown.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a time to show mercy.
Yes.
So the crime might have been committed. It might be that the punishment is too severe, and you would need to show mercy.
Well,
You know what I mean?
and here's the thing is I would much rather live my life, and this is me talking, but I would much rather live my life to knowing that I'm not going to have to answer to God someday on what I've done. And that should be enough to keep me out of the public system.
Well, you are going to have to answer to God one day, and that's why you
I said that
act
wrong.
accordingly. Yeah.
Thank you for whipping me with that one. But no, I agree with that. And
Someone's got to do it, Jim.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying is I know I'm going to have to answer to my Maker one day about the things that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And you can bet that that's a lot more strict than this jail.
Yes.
So that's
exactly.
If you live your life like that, I don't think you're going to have a problem.
But the beauty of the jury nullification program, which was designed and instituted in our form of government, was that they could take all the power of the legislators and the judge and bring it all right back to the people where it belongs.
Yeah.
Right? It's we the people.
Well, if you look at our framework, that's how it all is supposed to work. Anytime the people are supposed to be the end all.
John Jay was the first Supreme Court justice. He was a signer of the Constitution. He instructed his jury, and Supreme Court had juries in those days. He instructed his jury to not only judge the facts, but also judge the law.
Yeah. Yeah. See, now if you go to Tammy's Constitution class, I'm going to put a plug in for it. It's a wonderful class. You'll be up to speed on these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And if jury nullification is practiced throughout the country, we will retain some of our power back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's critical for the United States.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, about living in Sutter County is one thing that I really like about living here is I know I see eye to eye with about 90% of the people who live here.
Yeah.
So that means if anything ever does happen and I go to court and it wasn't a legitimate crime, if they know about jury nullification, more than likely we're all going to be good. Because they understand that anything that you can be arrested for anymore is not necessarily a true crime.
3 felonies
especially
a day.
in this state.
Oh, yeah, in this state, absolutely.
In the communist state of California.
Yes.
I'm going to put that, I keep saying I'm going to put that on the bottom of my email. California is a communist country.
The communist state of California.
Well, darn near. Darn near.
But you know what? We all stay here. And why?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, you're 2 hours away from Reno in the snow. You're 2 hours away from the coast.
And we're just stubborn enough not to be pushed out.
That's what
Right?
it really comes down to.
Well, that hurt.
I'm a little bit hard-headed.
that hurt a little bit, Tom.
What do you mean, Idaho?
we all, if we're staying here, we got a backbone. What,
man.
Randy? Was that? That wasn't necessarily directed.
Somebody pick
at you.
his job off the table.
I don't care. I'm going to Idaho.
I'm getting thumps all around today.
Let's talk about your peers also. What is a peer? A peer is somebody that
Older than me.
might be acquainted with
Everybody's
you.
older than you in their mind.
No, everybody's older than me, not just in their mind.
But it's somebody that might be acquainted with you.
Even you, honey.
Might be.
Shut up. Okay, now you're really going to get it.
I'm doing well today.
So a peer might be somebody that is understanding of the trade you're in or knows you in the community.
It's been older than you and been
a peer,
around longer
a
than
peer
you.
does not mean a stranger.
No.
So
Not at all.
yeah. Anyway, I think it's valid to point out that when we brought up jury nullification in the last DA's forums, that they seem to despise it.
Yes.
Yes.
They actually cringe when you say that word.
Yes.
They cringe, they back away, they look at you like you're crazy.
But Thomas Burns, he loves it.
But I have to say, Chris Carlos did none of those things.
No, he didn't.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
We forgot to talk about us.
And we're loved everywhere we go. We sing about beauty and we sing about truth at $10,000 a show.
So just make sure you guys remember that I'm loved everywhere as I go before I walk out of this booth.
You only got one person to worry about in here, Bubba.
I think I don't have one of you out today.
I think you already messed in your nest.
Yeah. I've done a good job today. Everybody's irritated.
Well, that's what you do best.
The great irritator.
Really good at it.
Were you a sheetrocker?
No. But I could send the sheetrockers to your house if you'd like.
Bet they don't get past the gate.
Stan, do you still hang sheetrock? Because I got a job for you. You can go to Randy's house.
Who's Randy?
Who is this Randy you speak of?
All right, so don't forget this week, Wednesday, 5-2, Chamber of Commerce Appeal Democrat Candidate Forum. Sutter County DA and Sheriff are on deck to have their forum. It's going to be held at the Yuba City City Council chambers at 6 p.m. Then the very next day, Thursday, May 3rd, the Sutter County Republican and Democratic Central Committees are co-hosting a forum for the DA and the Sheriff.
Same time, same place.
Same time, same place. How about that?
Yep. Same party, really, if you ask me.
So we're going to be at both of them to make sure we get as much information as we can on all these candidates so to make the most informed decision we can.
Yes, and see who we like.
Well, we've got to quit saying that we're going to all these because all the people that we have on the show that we talk about the next week don't show up at the next ones. They're like, "Oh, I'm out of here. See you later."
I'm not even going to show up.
No, you got to show up, man.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got.
It's just like getting married, man. You got to show up.
It's just like Pastor Dave says. You got to show up to the showdown.
Right. Show up to the showdown.
You got to show up.
You got to show up to get elected.
Yes.
Is what it boils down to.
Actually, you really don't, apparently. You can just get your name on the ballot and then hope for the best.
Then hide out, yes.
What's going to be interesting is these forums, if there's really 12 of us running, 12 people running, or 11 people running for city council, it's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
Can you imagine? We're going to get all of us are going to,
You gotta
they're going to all
still,
get
right?
one question apiece. They're all going to get one question apiece to answer.
No, it's just going to be a 5-hour forum.
I hope somebody gets the softball one.
Yeah, we got to lengthen our forum a little bit, man, because
no.
we're just getting started
During
sometimes.
forum season, I think we should go from 5 to 10. 5 hours. And if you can hang in there that long, you're going to have what it takes to be at the other forums.
It'd be like an intervention.
If you can hang out that long without leaving, then you might have what it takes to run.
And
So
don't forget the
screening process.
The Sutter Buttes Tea Party Patriots Candidate Forum for the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools on May 7th.
And Yuba County.
Yeah,
Sabine County.
And we will see if Bal and Tom are as supportive of the Common Core as they represented themselves to be at the last forum. We'll see if they've changed their minds at all. Because we've seen that happen. We've seen, we talk about some candidates, and then we talk about them on the show, and then they're at another forum, and they've kind of changed their tune a little bit.
I've been chatting way too much.
That's a good sign.
Did you throw in the Republican Party and the Democratic Club joint venture?
Yes, you missed that.
Yes.
Okay, I was mouthing off again.
You do that quite often.
Hey, well, while you're not mouthing off, here's something to think about. Yuba City. Median earnings for full-time, year-round private
dang,
workers.
we only got 6 minutes, and we were supposed to get into this today.
We'll
we
have
need
to do
another
it
hour.
next week.
This is just, just let them think about it.
We need
All right,
another hour.
let's throw out some facts, because Bill's got some facts.
So this is median earnings for full-time, year-round private workers in the city of Yuba City.
Is this your opinion?
This is not an opinion. This is off of transparentcalifornia.com. People go there. It's important. Anyway, if you're not in the city, if you're not working for the city, your median income is right at it's $36,918. If you are a full-time employee for the city year round, you're making $50,000 more than that. And
what?
that's,
So
and
you're
that-
at 86,000?
You're at 86,486, but that's not counting benefits. Count the benefits, and it's $122,616.
It's the median.
And everybody wonders why they can't balance a budget.
There's 66,147. This is 2016 statistics. There's 66,147 total population. So that means each resident of the city has to cough up $513.
I'm just snowballing here. But I think if somebody running for city council was to come out and say, I think we should lower some wages at the city, he would probably be a shoo-in for a seat. There you go, Stan. There's your one you can ride my back on again. That's your only T-bone this week.
Oh, boy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
transparentcalifornia.com.
there's got to be something that's tipping that scale to make that the median. What do we got at the high end?
Oh, we've got some doctors, some psychiatrists.
Psychiatrists.
Public employees.
Yeah.
Yes. What is their salary?
A lot.
A lot.
What is it? A lot to you and a lot
That's
to
the
you.
teaser.
Let's see. Salaries for Yuba County, Sutter County.
I thought you had this information.
I know. That's the only why I asked. I
did
thought
too.
maybe you had it right in front of you.
Man, that sucks.
I'm
Here we
sorry.
go.
I didn't mean to make you go.
I remember the candidate Burt
I'm
Manuel
sorry.
bringing this
I'm
up.
sorry. This is Sutter County. It's a psychiatrist. Yeah,
Okay.
It's Sutter County psychiatrist. And Mr. Hardeep Singh, he's kicking down $439,000 a year.
What?
I'd like to see a performance report on that man.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Because he just got a $30,000 raise from last year.
So wait. He got a raise that is almost as much as the average median income.
Yeah.
Stay in cool school, kids. Get indoctrinated. Be a doctor.
So when you
Be a psychiatrist.
when you go to the public forums and you hear them crying for money all the time,
There you go.
You know what?
And you want
dig
cheaper
a little
water.
deeper.
Cut
That's
a
what I
few
say.
chiefs. Keep some Indians. Now that brings up something that I've got a minute. I got to talk about this real quick.
Privatize.
This is something that John Mitzler said he would like to do if he's elected to Yuba County Supervisors. Cut all the employees out of the public works system. Keep a couple engineers, keep an inspector. All the rest of the money goes to the private industry to build the roads, do all the stuff, because you're going to get it done at a better price and a better quality product.
And faster.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine?
And
Yeah,
that
that
has
sounds
been
very
proven
legitimate,
over
yeah.
and over.
But I'm sorry, I'd keep 2 inspectors and 1 engineer. And if the engineer can't keep up, find another job. And if you miss your budget by 10% either way, you aren't
You're
doing your
fired.
job, cut them.
What if you miss it by like 50%?
Then
Then you're really bad at your job.
We're
Then you gotta be
going
tarred and
to
feathered.
take it out of your wage and see you later.
You got to go do sheetrock.
Oh, the sheetrock world is calling.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'll be a 1-year sentence to sheetrock camp.
1 year
Yes.
sentence to sheetrock camp.
Or the wastewater plant. as
Because,
the
you know,
city
it's
people
one
like
thing
do.
to run a multi-million-dollar project, and it's a different to manage a $60 million project, Stan. I know you rode that wagon last time, and it was a play on words, but the fact is what I do is manage the project, and it's a big difference to manage it and be responsible for the money than to have worked on one. My kid works on one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. He doesn't
Your
handle
kid
the
does
money.
very well. Your kid bought a house on that weight. Your kid's doing pretty good.
He is doing very well, but the fact is there's a difference between a play on words of working on one and running one.
Be one or talk about one.
So, all right, guys, we are just about out of time. I'm going to play a quick intro out, and we will see you next week. We need another hour, guys.
We do.
I know. I got one thing I wanted to
Go
That's
for
all
it.
right.
You got 30 seconds. Go.
I
Go,
just
go,
wanted
go.
to say for all you parents and grown-ups out there, if you're walking around town and you see a young person walking around that can't tie their shoes or dress themselves, stop and help them. Teach them how to tie their shoes, pull their pants up, pat them on the back, and tell them it's going to be okay.
Yes.
pat them on the head. It's okay.
Better carry a roll of duct tape.
Next
because,
week, see you soon. Yuba City Political Spotlight. Check us out.